Hi YouTube, I'm Aiman, and welcome back to my auto repair videos. In this video, I'm going to give you ideas and show you ways to remove and replace the AC compressor in a 2003 Honda Accord, or it's the same for 2003 to 2007 Honda Accord models. Now, on this car, we have to replace both the compressor and the fan, because on the compressor clutch is broken. So we have a new compressor right here, and, oh actually not a new compressor, but a new compressor from that car. So if you want to know how to test the compressor, check out my video on how to check it. I'll link it down in the description below. And we also have this Fan Shroud, which is also from this car, and we're gonna replace it here because the right side fan's not working. Alright, so first we're gonna jack the car up. We're not gonna do that in video. The next step is to remove the fan shroud, and I've already done a video on it, so go check that out if you don't know how to do it. But it's really simple. There are a few bolts to remove, 3 on here, and then there's a few wires to unhook. A few cables to unhook, and finally there's this coolant hose that you need to unhook. And then after that, you're going to remove the, I don't know what to call this part, but it's the underside of the fan. So that's the next step to remove. Alright, so after we jack the car up, we'll probably make it easier to take off the right tire, and we have our impact driver for that. And that's because there's a really hard to get to fastener to take off right behind the tire. And if you're small, you can probably get to it. It's somewhere right here. I can't point to it because I can't see it. But it has these fasteners that are hard to get to, and usually they should have these, and they're really easy to take off. You just take a screwdriver, you insert it into one of the slots, just pull it out. However, this car doesn't have that. It has, if you look under, zip ties, and that's because when my dad was fixing it up, he thought it would be easier just to use zip ties, and it is. You can just use scissors for that. So let's take off the right tire. Get that fastener I was talking about earlier. If you just look at the side guard, you can see that this hole sort of corresponds, so you can see it's right. Alright, so we got the side fastener off. Took a bit of effort, and I got my hands dirty. So if you don't like getting your hands dirty, you wear gloves. But if you're a mechanic, you should get used to that. So now the zip ties, which should be easier. Where's the so we have pliers that are made for cutting, so that should make the job a bit easier. And we have cardboard under, so my shirt doesn't get dirty. This is an old shirt, so it doesn't matter. I'll start from the side here. I think it's a bit easier if I do it like this, and then I can just snap it off. And I think this blade is dull too, so it certainly doesn't make the job harder. You might have to twist the plier in order to. Oh, it doesn't look like there's more on this side, so I guess we can go on to the other side. So there's one fastener on the left side, right here. This is an actual fastener, unlike the zip ties that we had before. So, like I said, just use a screwdriver to pry it out. And if a screwdriver doesn't work, you can always use a pair of pliers. So I find that I forgot about these two fasteners in the middle. They're towards the back, so they shouldn't be that hard. It should be easier to get leverage on these ones since there's a gap here. Make sure to wear goggles when you're working under a car too, because some metal might like drop from above. So like glasses or goggles, definitely what you need. Oh, I forgot another one. Got to be kidding me. Alright, now it should all come off. just slides out just like that. Okay, so next up we're gonna take the fan shroud out, and we're gonna probably gonna fast forward it. So if you don't know how to do it, check out my video on removing the fan shroud, which I'll link down in the description. And just a disclaimer, my dad doesn't usually do this, but you might want to disconnect the negative so that in case your metal might touch it, you don't want to short circuit it. Alright, now we can just put it out of the way. Just put it down here, I guess. Doesn't matter. So, I guess we now can fast forward it. So, first we'll just take down the bolts. Slide that down there. Hopefully we don't lose that. Take the big pliers, make them bigger. Okay. Grab hold of that. Alright, so that's why we got the cup down there. Oh. Dang. You think coolant spill is a problem? No, wait, we're not going to be using this fan anyway. Okay. Next step is to take out the belt. Taking out the belt is really easy. We've already done a video on it, so check it out if you want. But it's really easy, so just take this specialized tool, a number 14 socket, put on a tensioner, which is this smaller pulley right here. Pull down all the way, and flip the belt off. So flip it off right from here. So that's it. Now we can just flip the belt off. Remember to like make a mental note of the diagram, at least like the belt, so that you can, when you put it back on, you can remember where to put everything. Or you can just look at the diagram. Usually it should be on the roof, but we don't have it. So, and usually they have an online diagram, so you can always refer to that as well. Now that we took it off the fan shroud, the compressor is now more exposed. So before, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it was a lot more dirty. So we used some brake cleaner to clean it up, and we used some PV blaster to break off the rust. Now looking at the compressor itself, there are a few bolts that we have to take off. So first, looking at the top, there are a few 10mm bolts that we have to take off that are connected to the AC hose and the high pressure hose. So we can do that easily using hand. This is the 10mm, I think. So while you're doing this, make sure that you do not damage the radiator. This is important. It's very sensitive. In our case, we have an extra one, so we don't have to worry, but definitely be careful. Make sure you do not break it or touch it at all. So I think we're going to use this Milwaukee cordless ratchet. It's much easier. It takes away the tediousness of having to ratchet it, since there's a lot less space to ratchet it. So I'm just going to hold it like this, so in case it moves backwards. You might have to move the hose a bit to give you some space. We can put that bolt up here, and I can pull that out. Alright, so as you saw, that pressure buildup like all came out. So what we did before was that we tried to release some of the pressure by taking this off, and where's the screwdriver? We put a screwdriver in there to release some of the pressure. So I guess we didn't release enough pressure, so it all just like blew out. But that's alright. Nothing hurt. The low pressure line shouldn't be a problem. So now we can take it out. This one is a nut, not a bolt. So let me fit it on here. Is it long enough? I hope it is. I wasn't sure if you guys could see it, but that's alright. So that's the nut. And now we can take put this down here, take the low pressure line out, and hopefully there should be no buildup of pressure, but you never know. No explosion, so that's good. Put that aside for now. Probably tuck that away under. And now we can now there are these 4 main bolts that I have to take out. So this one here, there are 2 down under. So when we were working on the black car over there, the bolts were, since it was out for a long time, they were stripped, and since we tried to take them out using regular wrenches, they got stripped. So we figured out a way to extract them, and we did a video on that, so check it out if you have the same problem, and using bolt extractors actually. This is the bolt extractor set we used to remove the stripped bolts. These are good examples of what I meant by stripped. So if you have the same problem, check out that video. Alright, so continuing on, these are number 12 if I recall correctly. So we have the number 12. So the top ones are fairly easy. It's the bottom ones that we had a problem with last time, if I recall correctly. So we're gonna loosen the bolt on the right just for a second, then we can use the Milwaukee later. So one thing I want to talk about is that if you want to reduce the risk of stripped screws, use a 6-point instead of a 12-point. See, this has 6 points, that has 12 points. And if you want to reduce it even further, try using this kind of socket. This one has much tighter clearance on the hole, so it fits on much more tighter. So it reduces your risk of strip bolts. So now we can use the Milwaukee Cordless Ratchet, one of my favorite tools, one of my dad's favorite tools as well. Put it on. Make sure it rotates the right way. I always forget to do that. And then we can make sure that you stop yourself from hitting the radiator. Then we can do it. Alright. So this is what the bolt looks like. So I'm gonna put it over here to separate it from the ones that we took out earlier. These ones were the easy bolts. The bottom ones, not so much. If you're going to reuse your compressor, you want to take like a tissue or something and put it in these holes to stop contaminants from getting in, or like dust. However, on this compressor, it's bad, so we're not going to reuse it, so we don't have to worry about that. Another thing is that really you should take out the bottom bolts first on the compressor. So we're just going to put this in. The top bolts in first. However, the compressor actually sits on a lip, so even when you take out all 4 bolts, it's still not going to go down because it's resting on that notch. But anyway, we're gonna take out the bottom bolts first. So it's time to take out the bottom bolts of the compressor, and for that we're using a 12mm ratcheting wrench here. And if I feel that the bolts are gonna strip, then we're gonna go to plan B, which I'll get to later. So let's try it out. Maybe I should move this actually. So this is 12-point, which is why I'm talking about the risk of stripping. Okay. So that one got out easily. I'm hoping the other one will be just as easy. I'm pretty sure we can, actually no, we can't use the Milwaukee because it's not enough clearance, but just gotta put some elbow grease into this. Also, when you're working under the car, always make sure to wear goggles, because a lot of residue fell off onto my face. Before we loosen out this one entirely, we should try the other one first. So this one's a bit harder to fit under, so we got that one fit under. Alright, so if I recall correctly, this is the same exact other method that we used for doing the tensioner on the belt. And I recall correctly, I only said that if you're a skilled mechanic you should do this, but this is for getting more leverage. I heard it. Okay. So now it's a bit loose, so hopefully I don't need this, but we'll see. So let me fit that on first. You know, being a mechanic is never easy. You always have these twists and turns that you have to navigate, and you always have to find creative solutions to fix them. And sometimes they're a bit risky, but in the end it pays off. So now this bolt is a bit loosened, so I'm thinking now that we can take off all the bolts. This one is going to require a lot of elbow grease too. Maybe it'll help me work out though. Alright, so we finally loosened the bottom bolts, and now we're going to completely take out the top bolts. And after that, we should be able to remove it. Now, like I said earlier, there's a notch or a lip that keeps the compressor on. So to take it out, all we have to do is pull out the compressor in that direction. Opposite of the direction that the lip is in. So that I'll demonstrate actually, because you'll see. So I'm not gonna take it out out of the engine, because I'm known for having imprecise hands. So I'm gonna let my dad handle taking it out. But just to show you what it looks like when you take it out, that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna rest it down here just so you can see what the lip looks like. Do you see it? Yeah, it's up here. Okay, right. Yeah, that lip right there. So you can see it right in the middle. So that's the lip that the compressor rests on, so it doesn't completely fall out once you've taken all of the 4 main bolts out. So now the only problem now is taking it out, and I'm gonna let my dad handle that because I don't want to damage the radiator. Alright, next step is to replace the O-ring that's right here. Now, if you're going to do this over 2 days, what you want to do is you want to cover it up so no contaminants can get introduced. But we're doing this right now, so we're just going to clean up the O-ring right now. So we use this tool. It's basically just a pick or a hook, and we used it to clean up the contaminants. We also use it to get the O-ring out. And what we're going to do with this O-ring is that once we take it out, we're going to replace it with this set of O-rings that we have down here. Now, hopefully this O-ring should be distinct, and we're going to compare it to see. And then we're going to cover these O-rings in oil to... Is here this one or this one? What do you think? These are just a bit different. After a few minutes, maybe not a few minutes, more like half an hour of debating, we finally decided that we're going to use the old rings, and we're just going to use them to replace we're just going to put them back instead of using the aftermarket ones, because if you look really closely, you can see that the aftermarket rings are just a bit thinner, and they won't have as good a seal. So we're just going to put some oil on this, put it back. Worst case scenario, you just take it back out and replace it. But like I said, you can always just look online to see what size you need to have. But when we looked online, we find a size, but we didn't have any of those aftermarket. Is that me? Zami says hi, I guess. The big ring is the high pressure, so we're just gonna dip it in the oil. Then we'll put it down. Gonna flip it over just to get a good seal. Pick it up with some needle noses and put it back on. So this is the high pressure. Just slip it on like so. Okay, there we have it. High pressure and low pressure O-rings. Alright, so about the O-rings, my dad's not happy about it. He always replaces the O-rings. However, he can always order genuine parts online, and the problem with the AC isn't that it's leaking, it's the fan and the clutch. So my dad is confident that the O-rings are going to be fine. At least the one good thing that comes out of this is that the bolts aren't rusted, so we won't have to deal with that again.